Welcome back to the Wine and Dime Pod, the podcast where we drink wine, talk hoops. I'm Chris and that's Lyndsay, and we're doing sort of celebration today. A year of running the joint. We got some prosecco, as it says on the bottle, the wine of poets. So get ready for
We're
some
poet.
incredibly inelegant language during the course of this episode. I've had better ideas than opening champagne in my bedroom, or not champagne, sorry, sparkling wine in my bedroom. But we're about to do that right now. So here's hoping I don't get bubbly all over my bed. I don't have the technique necessary because of carpal tunnel to saber this shit live on video for y'all, which is unfortunate, really, because would have been a treat. I would have got.
Cheers to a year of wine and dime. We
Yeah,
did it.
there
We're
you go.
still somehow here.
It ain't
That's funny.
bad. It was a saga trying to get this thing, but Costco was being difficult as far as finding Costco branded stuff for some reason.
Yeah, that's
Ontario's
super
kind of
weird.
still in the early stages of the liquor thing, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying the prosecco.
Bum me out, not gonna lie, but that's okay. We move.
Yeah.
It's confusing, but anyways. Yeah, it's not bad though. I mean, I like Prosecco. I don't think I've had like a truly awful Prosecco. I mean, that's not true. I've had one or two that were not good because you could just tell it was like the cheapest possible base wine. But this is not that. This is pretty tasty. It's a pretty classic Prosecco. It says it's a brut Prosecco, which is kind of fun. Makes it a little closer to champagne, so that's something. We did it. We're at a year. More sparkling wine. It's also hot as hell here right now, so this is perfect because it is a solid 30 degrees outside and probably like 35 and at least in this room that I'm recording in. I am melting.
And it's finally not hot where I am. We've got like a little bit of beginning fall weather, like light jacket type of vibes right now. Rainy, low low 70s, high 60s for the Americans in the audience as far as temperature goes. It's summer feels like it's coming to a close. So this is like one last, nice summery drink to send the season away before school's back in session, and it's going to be 2 weeks of fall before 6 months of harsh, unforgiving winter in Canada.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. I mean, you at least get a couple weeks of fall. We don't even get that.
Damn.
We get like maybe a handful of days. September is always a weird month here. It's either super nice and like one of the nicest months of the summer, or it sucks. But our whole summer's been rainy, so this is probably the hottest consistently we've had weather this year, so not mad. But yeah, the Prosecco's definitely it's hitting today. But yeah, we figured some sparkling was in order to celebrate the 1 year of this, literally to the day, actually. I don't know if you know this, but when this episode comes out, it'll be the exact same day, a year later, as our very first episode called The French Are Real Good
Damn.
at Wine, which is accurate.
It's still true. Still true.
Still true. Yeah, believe it or not, still true. Turns out the Italians also real good at wine. We've learned that over the course of a year. It's one of the many
They've had
lessons we've taken
practice.
away. Yeah. One of the lessons we've taken away in this podcast is that the Italians and the French, they know what they're doing.
Cool boy.
Yeah, not bad at this winemaking thing.
Yeah, everyone else is still trying to catch up, unfortunately.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the Spanish would definitely beg to differ, but
Yeah.
we'll get there. But yeah, it's a fun time in the WNBA season. Kind of wrapping up the end. There's some drama. We figured today. I mean, the original plan was to be drinking Costco champagne, so we were gonna do kind of the Kirkland brand players for every team. Like they're not the stars, but they're equally as important and pretty good. But that didn't happen. So either way, we're still talking about X-factors for the upcoming playoffs. But we have a bit of news too. A couple things have happened in the W in particular since we last talked, including Candace Parker's jersey retirement. The Chicago Sky decided to throw their fans something fun to do other than watch the team lose. So they decided to rightfully retire Candace Parker's number. And the ceremony was really, really heartfelt and really nice. They did a really great job, I felt. It was cute seeing Candace on the court with her wife and her kids and her whole family being there. And then, former teammates, especially like Chelsea Gray and Kalia Copper, all came
Khalid
back and
Kaufman.
spoke.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really nice. I mean, obviously Chelsea was there partially because they played the Aces, but Candace is Chelsea's son's godmother too, so that was kind of cute. And they played together in Los Angeles and again in Vegas. So yeah, it was just a really nice ceremony. I didn't really get to watch the whole thing. I mostly just seen clips, but I'm really glad that this guy didn't like wait to
Yeah.
retire her jersey too long. It just feels like the right thing to do. It's important. I mean, Allie Quigley was the first to go in the rafters, which I think was fitting of that team. But then I think Candace being next is accurate. And then once Salute eventually retires, obviously her number is probably going to go up too. But
Yeah.
Curious to see if players like I don't know what the criteria is for the Chicago Sky to retire jerseys. Like every team has different criteria. Curious if players like Elena Deladon or Sylvia Fowles eventually get some love because they both had quite illustrious careers in Chicago, but they didn't win anything there. So I don't know. I mean, obviously Sylvia Fowles is like a shoe-in to go up in Minnesota, but
Hmm.
if that hasn't happened already, I don't know. Um, Regardless, yeah, it was a nice ceremony. I'm really happy for Candace. She really deserved that. She's been kind of crushing it in her retirement. It's something too that I think like it's too bad Pet Summit wasn't there. I feel like that's the kind of thing that would have just been like a cherry on top kind of situation.
Would've been amazing.
She would have been really proud, I think, of Candace, and just kind of sad, but yeah, it's cool. I'm really happy for Candace. She's always one of my favorite players, and it was really exciting when she came to the Sky. Even more exciting when we won a championship with her. And I am fortunate enough that I got to see her play in a Sky jersey, so that was really cool. But yeah, I'm really happy for Candace. There's not really much else to say other than it was a pretty adorable ceremony, and someone was cutting onions in the room when I was watching.
And for me, it was like having war flashbacks, seeing Candace Parker out there. She was one of those players who I wanted to hate because she played with the Sparks, and I hate the Sparks. But she was just so goddamn good and so cool. Kind of like a next level point forward type of player. Had legit center size who could two behind the back dribbles in open court, and she could throw down dunks even back in high school. Really, really cool player. Wanted to hate on her so bad, but she was too good for me to hate on. It was always a battle when she played the Mercury when she was in LA, and then when she went over to Chicago, I was like, okay, cool. The burden is lifted. I can finally, not have to worry about, trying to hate or whatever. And then she rewarded me by whooping our ass in the finals with Chicago. So, that's very nice of her to do that. Thanks, Candace. But
Yeah,
an incredible
literally.
career, awesome player. She's doing pretty good at the punditry now that she's an analyst. It's been
I mean,
interesting to see.
she's been fun. She's been fun on TNT for a few years. I'm kind of excited to see her. She's been
Yeah.
is her appear when those podcast appearances with Aaliyah Boston, is that like a full-time thing that they're doing?
I don't know. I know it's Boston's podcast, I think. I don't know if she's the co-host of it, but she's seems to be there on there
They're
pretty
just
often, I guess.
Yeah, or they've just saved a lot of clips. I don't really know, but I was kind of wondering
Yeah.
about that. I was like, is she actually part of this? Because that's cool if yes. I mean, they are both Adidas athletes. And it's fun to see Candace kind of taking on a larger role with Adidas. And I mean, obviously, there's the Nashville WNBA bid as well for the Tennessee Summit, which I kind of hope that. I mean, the WNBA would be really stupid to not try and cash
Yeah.
in on that a little bit, I think. First of all, they have a great ownership group of people that have like submitted like are behind it, so like the money won't be an issue because the Predators, the NHL owner, he's like the biggest one, and then you've got
Mm.
Candace, Peyton Manning, like a bunch of Tennessee alum, and like I think it would be really cool, and it would be a really great. It would probably do the WNBA a lot of good to have that kind of team because it would connect Tennessee, like the importance of Tennessee to women's basketball
Mhm.
to the W, and it would help with that college kind of connection, which I feel like the W lacks a lot of the time, or finds it difficult to
Yeah,
kind of bridge that
there's a
gap.
part of me that wishes the bid was from Memphis instead of Nashville, but it'd still be really, really cool to have a team up in Tennessee. And I think being able to
Yeah,
play, I assume they would play where the Predators play, which is really, really
that was the
convenient because
plan. Yeah,
NHL to basketball arena common usage is it's been easy. It's been like the natural fit because they draw roughly the same size crowd, roughly the same dimensions. So it's a natural one. So, I mean, why not? But
especially
it would be
since
dope to have them in Memphis, though. That'd be so cool.
especially since the W plays in the off season, like the NHL off season. So like for Nashville, for
Yep.
like that particular arena and stuff, it would be. And Nashville's really picked up as like a destination city for people too. I think that kind of helps. It's a bit like Vegas, where you can also get those
The
traveling fans.
bachelorette party capital of America
Yeah,
now, Nashville.
Nash Vegas, as they like to refer to it.
My God, it's where sorority girls go to go to live out their like Kesha fantasies, basically. It's weird
Basically,
that that's happened in Nashville. Maybe it's always been like that, and I just wasn't hip to it. But like, it's definitely been the last 10 years. It's been like this is where
bumping.
SEC country sorority and fraternity people go to like wear pastel colored shorts and polos and get absolutely hammered. Like it's kind of
It's
incredible.
It's become a really popular destination from Canada as well.
Yeah, all the Canadians who like line up outside for like country concerts, like in Toronto and stuff, all want to go to Nashville for vacation. Like all of them.
Yeah. Um, It's cool. I liked Nashville. I mean, I think that Nashville's a good. I agree that Memphis would be cooler, but I also think Nashville's a better fit. I don't really
Mm.
know much about Tennessee geography, so I don't know the distance from like Nashville to Knoxville, for instance. But I think that Nashville is kind of like a. That's about 3 hours. Okay, it's not that bad. So Memphis would be closer, I guess. But Nashville's kind of perfect though because it's in a nice like location in terms of trying to get people from say like Kentucky, like any like Louisville fans, people from it's like 2 hours away. You're close to Indianapolis. You're close to a lot of those types of cities too, so it kind of helps in terms of just like travel. And then yeah, like being able to play in the NHL arena, I think is a really big sell. And plus, there's just a commitment of backing, and it is a city that people, I guess, want to travel to. So there's some benefits to being in Nashville, and I like though that it would be called like the Tennessee Summit, not Nashville.
Yeah.
So it's not specifically about the city. It's just that's the people willing to bring the team. The Memphis Grizzlies owner didn't step up, and no one else from Memphis did. So may as well.
Yeah, Tennessee Summit definitely makes it seem even more tied to the University of Tennessee, which is kind of cool. Also, like,
The colors
yeah,
too.
I don't know. I think Nashville has some good sports fans too. I mean, Titans aside, nobody cares about the Titans. But the Predators are drawing really good crowds since a few years after their inception. And I saw like last year, I think Vanderbilt football, they fucking threw the goalposts in the river to celebrate
Yeah,
a win over Bama. Like that's the kind of like wild-eyed devotion I think you want from an expansion team. So I think that's going
for
to be a
sure.
packed arena
And
for
even
sure.
like Vanderbilt women's basketball is like fairly well supported for being the
Yeah.
small kind of a small program. They're pretty well supported. So yeah, I think Nashville would actually be a great city and like location wise it's quite nice for the W because the travel to surrounding cities isn't terrible. But we'll see if the
Yeah.
W actually accepts that because obviously there's a lot of interesting trouble going on with expansion slash sales of current franchises. See also the Connecticut Sun mess. So I guess the bet, I don't know. I'm trying to explain what I know about it, but essentially, the ownership of Boston Celtics, he put in a bid. The WNBA rejected it. Basically, I think the W rejected it because they don't want the team moved to Boston. They apparently want a team to go to Houston. But they also wouldn't make any money from the sale if Mohican sells to uh, the Celtics owner. So the league would make no money in
Yeah.
that transaction, and they're trying to figure out how to capitalize on basically like the I think you should leave guy. We got to figure out how to make money on this situation because the W is trying to cash in on obviously the popularity of women's basketball and like the sale price that's going to happen for the Sun. And the thing that drives me nuts about it is that the W. And so Tom Ziller kind of talked about this in Good Morning It's Basketball, and he doesn't wade into the W too much. I know he watches it, but he just doesn't actually cover it too often. But he kind of covered some of the awkwardness of the sale. And it sounds like the W is trying to force the team to go to Houston, which is awesome, except for the part where it's like you could just have approved an expansion to that city years ago or whatever. Tillman
Yep.
Fertitta obviously wants a team, just get him to pay the expansion fee. I don't know. There's just like a lot of weirdness. I can't really. It sounds like someone else from like tried to buy the team as well. The W would approve, or I don't know. It's very confusing. I don't know if you have more better details than I do because I'm still trying to wrap my freaking head around it. I just know that the optics aren't super great of the W trying to screw over a sovereign nation who kept
Yeah.
that team afloat for a long time when no one else wanted them, just to like I don't know, hand it over to a Trump ambassador in
Yeah,
Houston.
there's also like the weird thing with so obviously the league prefers reportedly a move to Houston, but then there's also a secondary bid to move the team to Hartford and keep the team in Connecticut, just
Right, yeah, that was the other
into a
one.
into a bigger metropolitan or not at Hartford. They I think the WNBA wants it in Hartford, but there's a bid like to go to Providence in Rhode Island, which is pretty close by, and like Providence could probably support a WNBA team better than like Uncasville, right? In terms of population and stuff like that. But like I don't the league doesn't seem as jazzed on the idea of going to like either Providence or Hartford. I guess maybe they're not big enough TV markets for their liking. But then Boston is right there. You know what I mean? If that's what they're looking
Yeah,
for.
the fact
So
that they don't want to go to Boston is weird to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get that they're trying to force the sale to Houston, but also they could just approve another expansion to Houston. Like, it's not, I don't know. It's just kind of strange. It also felt because when they approved the bids of Detroit, Philly, and Cleveland, like, they could have added Houston in there or chosen Houston over one of the other two. So it's like I don't really understand what's happening. And then like the league has showed so much indifference towards having the Comets back for decades that it's kind of
yeah.
confusing now that like now they're trying to force it and it just feels like they're doing this just because they know that they're not going to make any money on this sale.
Yeah. It feels like we could get 2030 Houston Nashville combo expansion one Eastern Conference, one Western Conference, but it doesn't seem like they, for whatever reason, they don't seem like they're interested in it. I don't know if they're worried about overexpanding or what, but like it seems weird to try to force, like if somebody who owns a team is selling it and they've accepted an offer, the idea that you're gonna force them to sell to somebody else, it just feels like that something that they may not legally be allowed to do. We'll see how that shakes out, but it seems questionable at the very least to tell them, hey, man, you can sell those people. Like, for what?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. So basically, this is how Ziller put it. He's like, the Mohican tribe, owners of the Connecticut Sun for 22 years, decided to cash out by agreeing to sell the team to Celtics minority partner / Celtics sale bridesmaid, Stave Pagliuca, for a record $325 million. He immediately signaled that he planned to move the team to Boston, and then except Boston is not currently on the WNBA expansion list. The next city up is Houston. So then he says this is like the two ways this could have gone. The WNBA could have thanked the Mohican tribe for its decades of investment, acknowledged that its resources are no longer in line with the needs of a WNBA franchise, and let them sell the team unimpeded, signaled to Pagliuca that any relocation would be subject to the approval of the WNBA Board of Governors, or they could put up a roadblock and try to pressure the Sun tribe to do to the Mohican tribe to do what fits the league's own plan, and that seems like basically what they did. So Ramona Shelburne and Alexa Filippo had a report, and essentially the report says that the WNBA, knowing the Mohican tribe was seeking a buyer, tried to buy the Sun for $250 million so it could pass the franchise off to Cleveland or Houston, allowing both cities to join the league. But then Pagliuca, who came a few $100 million short of landing the Celtics, stopped by with a 30% higher offer, so obviously the Mohican tribe went with that, because why would you not? To your point, Shelburne and Filippo reported that the tribe had some ideas on how to solve the problem. One of them was to keep the team in New England, in Hartford, and one of which involves Houston or whoever ponying up the $325 million to take the team away. That's certainly the most fair solution that gets the team what it wants, which is the $325 million. Like, why would you not want that money? But it's also deeply unfair to Pagliuca and deeply unfair to local fans who would be able to catch an occasional game 2 hours away in Boston, but not in Houston. Basically, like, Boston kind of gets screwed in this situation. The Sun ultimately will get their money one way or another. It's just really frustrating. It's also, I think, frustrating, and this is, like, I think the main point I took away from Ziller's article, and I kind of agreed with, is that it's like, this is just another example of the WNBA not really being ready for its own success. It's like, they could have seen this coming. Any reasonable person would have seen this coming. There's a huge boom in women's sports. Like, the value of franchises is really high. Like, the expansion fees that the Tempo had to pay, etc., were really high. So it's like, of course, an existing franchise is going to be worth a shitload of money. And the W was not ready for that. And it feels like another example of, like, they weren't ready for Caitlin and Angel to enter the league in terms of just what that would, all the things it would bring. They haven't been ready for this, like, step up in success. And it's just like, why do you have to make everything so difficult, WNBA? Why? Especially when players still aren't getting everything that they've been promised, and then on top of, like, the entire, like, CBA discussion. It's just, like, so messy. It just feels like the league is...
Speaking of, it's been reported that it is unlikely that there will be a new CBA agreement by October 31st, like the original deadline. I mean, obviously the next season won't be for a hot minute because the WNBA offseason is pretty long. You know, the players have said they're prepared to lock out if necessary. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the course of the winter, because the players seem to still be very unhappy with the last CBA discussions had with the league.
Yeah, this podcast is going to be a labor podcast on talking about the WNBA in the off season. Yeah, we're gonna start brushing up on our union policy because. Yeah, like I do think that the Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire are potentially in a really shitty situation in terms of trying to launch their seasons if this happens. Which
that's not a lot.
I mean, like, it's not. I support the players in that sense. I wouldn't really feel bad for executives, but it's also a bummer too that all this excitement around expansion, and then now is when the WNBA is still trying to like short people on what they deserve, and it's just they just are. I don't know. Like I was never like super wild about Kathy as commissioner, but I've more and more been just like, what do you even do here? Like, why are you here? Like, you're not helping anyone. And I don't know. It's kind of exhausting. I can only imagine how the players feel.
She was dancing with the players at All-Star Weekend. Like, her vibes are so good.
Yeah. wearing the New York skyline dress to a finals game. That was
I
awkward.
forgot about that.
Yeah, that was pretty
Damn.
awkward.
She couldn't find a Minneapolis skyline dress to make it fair, Kathy.
Just like a neutral skyline. I don't know.
Just a regular dress? Yeah, the
Any
Cincinnati
other
skyline.
fabric? Yeah,
Whatever city she's from, where is she from?
I genuinely have no idea. Kathy Engelbert.
Not you looking it up too.
She is from Collingswood, New Jersey.
I feel bad because like after I already realized you were looking it up, I still kept typing in her name.
Well, you know,
Like I
we're
might
gonna
get
see
the
a thing.
scoop first or some shit.
We're gonna see a thing on a WNBA broadcast about how Google searches for Kathy Engelbert's name are up by 2%.
Yeah. She couldn't get a Newark, New Jersey skyline dress. God damn it,
Seriously,
Kathy.
honestly, fucking, I don't know, like a Princeton dress. I don't know, like anything else. Literally any other.
Like if I was at a function and I saw somebody in a Princeton dress, I would just leave. I'm like, I clearly do not belong here.
Me too. But that at least like would fit her vibe better. I don't know. There's a lot of moments where I'm like, what do you even do here? Because like sometimes it just feels like she was hired to be the NBA's like, hey, let's keep a cap on this shit kind of plug, rather than
Mhm.
actually trying to expand the league in any meaningful way because it's still unclear where like all the $75 million that capital investment they got, where all the fuck that went, or any of the like fees. I mean, shit. Surely the players can fly charter if they're collecting what 50 million from the Toronto and Portland.
They went to bespoke dresses for specific WNBA cities.
Yeah, yeah,
When she
must
breaks
have.
out, hey, when she breaks out that throwback Sacramento one, hey,
Yeah,
I'm saying,
all worth it.
get
It'll all
ready,
be worth it.
get
It'll
ready.
all be worth it when we
Yeah.
get to see the Indianapolis skyline on Kathy Engelbert's body.
When there's like social media's like rumors going up, and you see like, is that Nashville's most famous building on a pin on her backpack? Are we getting a new? I couldn't think of what Nashville's most famous building is, but like, picture it in your head.
It's gonna
Imagine
just be like
Tennessee, but a really big building that's really
it's
interesting.
gonna be it's gonna be like the Tennessee State House or fucking like the Broadway where all the like the bars are, where all the country bars are. It's just gonna be like a dress.
It's gonna be a bar with a big like neon guitar shaped sign that says like boot scooting or some shit like that.
It's
Like it's
Tootsie's is the most famous old
there we
school
go.
country bar in Nashville. She's gonna have a
There we
Tootsie's
go.
dress, and that's how we're gonna know the Tennessee Summit have been approved.
There we
It's
go.
like the smoke. It's like the smoke signals that the Cardinals have during the conclave for the Pope. That's how we're learning about new expansion cities is based on Kathy Engelbert's dresses.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I actually do hope the players strike, not because I want to miss out on a WNBA season, because I don't, obviously. But I do hope they strike because I do hope that they get what they're actually worth. It took players like Diana Taurasi to sit out an entire season in the W and take that hit, and obviously have a Russian billionaire willing to pay them a lot of money in order to, change things the first time. And the players have all said like they capitulated pretty heavily in 2020 to get certain things, and they're not willing to do that again because like they have the leverage. People want to watch the W. They have things like Unrivaled that pay better. They have overseas. Like that's the thing. All these players can make money in a lockout. All of them. Because all of them already have had overseas contracts or Unrivaled contracts, Athletes Unlimited, plus endorsement money. Like they'll all be
I
fine.
think
So like
there's been some suggestion that the league specifically wants it in player contracts that they can't play in some of these leagues in the off season. It's like, well, hey man, if I'm not gonna play in, Athletes Unlimited or Unrivaled or whatever, you gotta pay me more than, $60,000 a year.
Well, because so prioritization has always been the biggest sticking point, and that was something that the players capitulated on in the last CBA. That and like maternity leave stuff, I think, to get
Hmm.
or no travel. Sorry, it was travel for sure. I think some to get some maternity protections in the last CBA, which weren't even that great, but they're better
Yep.
than they were. They had to give up on prioritization and also the higher salaries. They had to give up on prioritization and I think travel. And I want to say probably some other, I'm sure a million other things. And I know that Gabby Williams has been like the biggest vocal sort of person against the prioritization rules because she's like, I make so much more money in France and want to play for a national team. And I mean, it's a reason, like we've talked about ad nauseum, why players like stars like Emma Miesemann have stayed out of the W for the last like what 4 years, 3-4 years, because why would I when I can make more money playing for Fener in Turkey on
Yeah.
top of getting to represent the country that I want to represent, play for the team, like represent my country on multiple levels. And I'm pretty sure those national teams pay too. So it's like, why would I come play in your pitiful little league when I can do that and get my summer off? Like, I get to take a summer off. So,
Yeah, I can get some eccentric European with both unknown origins to pay me like 8 times the salary. Like,
yeah,
if the checks show up on
totally.
time, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Food's probably good.
Like, I mean, I'm surprised. To some extent, I'm a little surprised Emma came back over. I feel like she's just hot right now and just probably wants to keep that going. I don't know, but why not capitalize? But I don't know. It's I think prioritization like that will be whether it's overseas or just other leagues like Unrivaled. Those are going to be, I think, the biggest sticking points. It's going to be that, and then obviously the basketball revenue question because right now they only make 9% of basketball revenue when
It's
other
pretty
leagues
fucking
all
low.
make at least
Get 50%.
40, or at least close. Like I think the NBA is like 48 or something, and the NHL is below 50, but it's pretty close to 50. So like standard leagues, especially when the WNBA consistently outperforms a lot of men's sports leagues on like TV and things like that. So uh,
I'm sure it's
yeah,
killing MLS. Like, just
destroying. Well, NWSL has destroyed MLS's numbers even too. Like it's actually crazy how badly
it's a
MLS
good
is
league
doing.
too. It's a good league too.
NWSL is a very good league. And I mean, they have their problems, but they've at least seemingly figured out a few things to get international stars to come over. So I don't know, but I do think that the W is going to have to. It's what's going to be fascinating is like what happens with just like owners and stuff because there's always the broke boy owners. So it's like, but I mean, even like Chicago, famous broke boy owners are stepping up to build practice facilities because they're like, well, this is the only way we're going to be able to compete. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, the Sun are smart to cash out. I think they know that they don't want to spend the money that's required. And the W knows that they don't want to spend the money that's required. And so they're just, may as well get out while the getting's good. And I don't blame them for that. But yeah, it's disheartening how, and I get it, it's the league's job to be the ops and, fight against the players, but it's also like, you don't have to be that evil. Like, let's all acknowledge that this tide is lifting all boats. Let's actually do that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a difference between like not being helpful all the time and being an active roadblock, and I think sometimes they're a little too roadblocky. You know what I mean? But it's too
Yeah,
bad with
they're
the Sun though, because like I've enjoyed my experience at Sun games. I've been to two. It is kind of an awkward location. It's kind of like not even like on a major road, really. If you're coming from certain directions, you're just back streets the whole way. No lights even when you're coming back. Like it's dark one lane roads the whole way. When we went from Rhode Island both times, but I mean, it's a cool arena though, and a good experience. But yeah, it's probably as the league gets bigger, it's probably time for them to go somewhere bigger too. And yeah, I was very surprised that they were so resistant to Boston. I did not expect that.
yeah. And I mean, like, I get it as I am also resistant to Boston just as a city, irrespective of the WNBA, but just, how I feel about Boston sports teams. So, like, you. I would have had to hate them even more if they went to Boston. But it's still just kind of like optically super weird. It's just gross, and it's like, why are you doing this? Like, you're quibbling over nothing. Like, it just seems so convenient that all of a sudden it's like, oh no, we want the Comets back. And it's like, well, where was that expression of interest in any of the other expansion talks?
I
I
was
just,
really shocked the Comets didn't get expansion in that last cycle. Like I really thought they'd be ahead of.
yeah,
I didn't think they'd be ahead of like. I figured they'd be ahead of Detroit and Cleveland.
same. Like
I didn't expect them coming back that quickly.
Toronto made some sense in terms of just like, well, expanding internationally. Like, there's been some inroads that way too, right? And especially because it's not like there's ever been a shortage of Canadian fans coming across the border.
Well, I mean, more importantly, it's one of the top five biggest cities in North America. Like that's why you put
Yeah.
a team in Toronto. If you're
Well, and
thinking
even
media
if you're,
market, money, whatever, you do it.
and on top of that, it's not even just the city, it's the fact that you get a whole country because that happens in every league that Toronto gets a team, as much as it annoys
Yeah,
Torontonians. But it's like, well, what did you expect? Like, sorry, Toronto, suck it up.
yeah.
Like, you know,
That's the Grizzlies' fault for not making it work.
yeah, But it's true though. Like you get the entire country, and then you get like from a media standpoint, like every
Mm,
Toronto Tempo game is going to be on TSN. So for as a team, like they're stand to make a lot of money, and that helps the
mm.
league, and they're willing to pay the expansion fee. So like it makes some sense. But yeah, I'm a little surprised Houston didn't get approval over even like a new expansion city like Philly. Like because I can even see the argument for Detroit and Cleveland over and Portland over Philly in that that's like bringing if we're on this like tear of bringing in historic franchises, then bring back Cleveland, Philly, or sorry, Cleveland, Detroit, and Houston all in one go. Because then you get the Shock, the Comets, and the Rockers all back at once. Whereas then, it's just weird. I don't know. It's confusing, but it just feels convenient, kind of like they're like, oh yeah, Houston, that's why we're rejecting the sale or something. When I'm sure it's probably entirely about money. But what are you gonna do? Hashtag capitalism. Any other
There every
news you
day,
want
ain't
to
it?
Yeah, pretty much. Hashtag capitalism. Anyways, any other quick little news tidbits you want to hit before we get to the main content here?
The biggest news of the week in the WNBA, Serena Sundell has signed a 7-day contract with the Dallas Wings. Go Kansas State, go Wildcats. Her and Paige Beckers want to take over the league, go on a 3-game win streak. I don't know, man. I'm just happy to see her latch onto a team because I really thought that she would make it on the Seattle Storm this season, but didn't happen. But
I think that's
been
more of a
hooping, been
Storm
feeling great.
problem than a Serena Sundell
Yeah,
problem,
yeah.
to be honest.
It's tough to make these rosters, man, especially when they don't even carry the full 12 players most of the time. Like, and
Yeah.
there's no G League to throw players on who aren't going to get playing time. So a lot of players just get let go.
Yeah, well, and I mean, like the Storm don't even really play their own rookies that are like high draft picks, as we'll get to shortly.
Yeah.
Just a thing. Yeah, well, if there's nothing else, then I guess, well, may as well get started. So yeah, the playoffs are approaching. I guess we're in what, like the last 2 weeks of the season? Yeah, so pretty much the last, and with the condensed schedule, I think the last game is like the 10th of September, something. So
Yeah, it's
it's
like 2.5 weeks. So September 11th, I think, is the last day of games. A cursed season ending for the WNBA. My goodness.
the entire Indiana Fever is just like, oh fuck, we're gonna lose everyone.
Could it get worse? Could
Could
it
it
get
get?
worse? It
You
absolutely
can never
could.
ask that question because it definitely can always get worse.
I promise you, the city of Indianapolis is safe from that at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Just feels like the curse is going to just extend to more injuries for their players or something. The entire roster goes down on the last day of the season. Seems like it could happen in Indiana these days. Um, all right, well, the plan was, since that's coming up, we would talk about just some X factors, like players we think are going to be very important to every team's playoff run. Not everyone has clinched a playoff spot yet, but for the most part, I think it's pretty well set who's going to actually at least be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Seeding is up for grabs. It's
to be
really that
determined.
last fight for I don't know, basically like 6 through 8.
The home
The
court,
last three
really.
playoff spots are actually kind of like the bottom of the playoff bracket is very fascinating. But yeah, I don't know which standings you're using the ESPN standings.
I got the Yahoo ones. The middle is kind of interesting too because like there's teams in second that are like a game and a half above fifth. So a lot of shit could change in the last 2.5 weeks of the season. Like there's some teams that look like they could be playing one of the worst teams in the playoffs right now, and they could be the fifth seed playing on the road against the four pretty soon. So a lot's riding on the last couple of weeks. It's kind of a fun playoff race, but yeah, the eight is pretty much that though. Aside from maybe LA in the 9th spot could do a little something.
Yeah, so do you want to start with at the top or do you want to start with that weird playoff race at the bottom? Probably start. So we'll start at the
I
top.
we could stop at the bottom. I think we can start with the Sparks because they've been hot lately. I think they've won like 11 of 15 or something like that. Like they've been moving. They've been moving. The
They've been
offense is
moving.
one of the top three in the league. The defense is still cheeks. Their games are fun to watch. There's going to be scoring, which is always a good combination for neutral fans. So yeah, I mean the Sparks, man, they got Cameron Brink back after a long injury absence. I think torn ACL, right? And
Yeah.
they've been hooping. They've been hooping. Kelsey Plum been hooping. Rakia Jackson been hooping. They've been hooping.
Yeah, who's your X factor for the Sparks if they do? Well, I mean, even just like they'll last for the final push of the season, or if they do make the playoffs. Who's your X factor of a player?
So I went with Cam Brink for them. Partly because I mean this is a team that has like one of the worst interior defenses in the entire league, and she is a stopper. Like she is probably the most gifted shot blocker in the league right now. She can reach stuff that other people just can't reach. Great balance, crazy long arms. Uh, she's like if you mixed Cameron Diaz and Victor Wembanyama together, it's kind of a weird combination, but she's also been shooting well from three. Like she's hit like 42% of her threes this year, which is a really cool piece of development for her. The scoring from the perimeter was kind of a question for her going into the league. So if they're gonna make the playoffs, it's probably gonna be because she's putting out some fires on defense and knocking down open shots when she gets a chance. Because the Sparks can get to the rim and they can shoot three really well as a team. So that defense can get shored up and the rebounding can get shored up. They can do something.
Yeah, totally. I would agree with that. Has Cameron, because she went down with an ankle injury shortly after, but she's obviously back in the league because like their second or third game back, she went down with an ankle injury, but she seems like
Yeah,
that
she
was pretty
played last
short-lived.
game.
Yeah, I think that they're kind of
Yeah,
on
she
a
played. She played against Dallas.
right. Yeah, she's on a pretty heavy like minutes restriction, so that's interesting. But yeah, I agree. She's a really fascinating player, and it's like funny to say like their top two pick is a an X factor, but it's true. Especially because this is probably the most important basketball that any of the players, well, not any of them, but most of the young players on the Sparks team have played. So with that notion, my X factor is Rickea Jackson for the same reason. Because this is probably the first time, well, it's their second season, but her rookie season, obviously, they weren't really playing a lot of meaningful basketball. And for her, for the Sparks with her, it's the scoring. Because like when she scores less than 20 points, they basically lose. It's almost like a guarantee. But when she's scoring over 20 points, they're winning, which has been a pretty big chunk of their games lately. So they need her to keep being that just like relentless presence that she is. Like speaking of getting to the rim, she's been getting to the rim pretty efficiently. Her 3-point percentage has definitely been better of late, starting to hit it from three a bit more. But yeah, basically every game where they win, she is for sure in double digits, but at least close to 20 points. And when they're losing, she's scoring like 4 points. So her ability to get to the rim, I think, is really important and just like bring that pressure, especially with guards like Dearica Hamby, whatever. Like it's important. And it's a lot of young players. It's just nice to see them kind of coming together. And I mean, Indiana has been sliding. So, I mean, the Valkyries have always been on that bubble, but the Fever have been reeling and they've like almost given up their playoff spot to the Sparks. So they got to be careful for sure. Also to protect their last remaining ACLs.
Man, like everyone, like if you're not injured right now, just put a knee brace on anyway. Just do it. If you play for the Fever, just go to your local CVS, grab a knee brace, throw it on your knee. You might not even be headed to the court right now. You might have a day off today. I don't know if the Fever play today or not, but just go ahead, slide one over your knee, pull one over your other knee too, and go on about your day. Because nobody's ligaments are safe in Indianapolis right now at all, apparently.
They sure aren't. All right. Well, after the Sparks, I guess it's the Valkyries or the Fever. ESPN has it as the Fever in the 8th spot right now, but I believe they're
We might as
tied
well
with
put the Fever
Golden
because we just
State.
talked about them.
Yeah, and they're tied with Golden State at 19 and 18, so it's not really that different of a. They have exactly the same record.
Yeah.
My Fever X factor is Lexi Hull because she is one of the few remaining people who can shoot the basketball beyond the 3-point arc on that team. Once she got moved back to, like, her role has been she's fluctuated pretty hard this year. She's been pretty good when she's been in the starting lineup. She's a very solid defender for them. Her 3-point shot when she's had more opportunity has been very good. But their spacing is so screwed now without Sophie and Caitlin and everyone, really. I mean, Ari McDonald was a helpful player, and her and Colson were helpful as point guards, even though they're not great outside shooters because they at least put some pressure on the rim and whatever. But missing Caitlin for as long as they were put a lot of pressure on Sophie to be the 3-point shooter they needed. And now Sophie's out. They really need Lexi Hull to do something because without that, I fear they are screwed. Because Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard are playing well, but they're not exactly like 3-point threats, and the spacing inside is definitely much different without any kind of 3-point threat. Chloe, like they've got some stopgap measures, like Chloe Bibby's been pretty good here and there. She's been kind of on fire. But I mean, yeah, you can't be relying on. we can't be relying on Odyssey Sims or aerial powers at this point, especially because they're not exactly great outside shooters. So
Yeah.
tough out there.
Shit, man. The player I was gonna pick is injured, so I was gonna say Aaron McDonald, but I guess I'm gonna go with Shea Petty, man. Like she's she has 16 points in her last game on 6 for 7 shooting. Game before that was 3 for 4 for 10 points. She's still got a little juice left, man. She's an older player than I think people realize. I mean, she's 36 now, but she been getting some buckets the last couple nights. So they need something from somebody on the perimeter, something from
Yeah,
somebody. Anybody.
Shay.
And if she's gonna give it to you, then hey man, she's a hooper. It's just, she's a little bit older now, but
It's
wherever you
just
can get
tough
it.
because like Odyssey and Shay and like those players, like they're good, but like you said, they're definitely a bit older, but they're very streaky outside shooters, and the Fever just have no spacing anymore. Yeah, it's kind of a nightmare in Indianapolis. I mean, I think you could probably say that just about being in the city of Indianapolis, but like definitely a nightmare as a basketball player right now. It's rough out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tied with them in the standings. I don't know. Basically these last four teams are basically just duking it out for positioning.
Yeah.
But the surprising Golden State Valkyries, the expansion franchise, they set the record for most expansion wins by an expansion team ever. So that was pretty cool. They've been really fun to watch. I don't know. I mean, their offense is like watching a rock fight, but it's just been fun to see them be better than we all expected, and just like they clearly fight hard, play for each other, all those like cheesy things that you want. And it is very corny, but I feel like if they do make it into the playoffs, they're going to be a tough opponent to play. I mean, they're probably not going to win their first round series. I would be kind of surprised if they did. But I feel like they're going to make it hard for whoever they play.
Well, fine. Their
Yeah.
defense is very good. Their offense they're dead last in the league in field goal percentage, and it can be a little hard to watch. But they got some players. I've been surprised to see them still be in the playoff hunt, still have a winning record without their leading scorer. Like the leading scorer went down for the season, Caleb Thornton, and I mean the next leading scorer left is averaging 12 points a game. They still have a winning record. Like it's been it's been impressive. Natalie, like I say, man, like if the guy put that, yeah, you might want to write her address down at least for that Coach of the Year trophy. I'm not saying make to her yet, but if they make the playoffs, you might want to send that thing her way.
Yeah. Sorry, who was your X Factor? You went with.
I'm going with Cecilia Zandalasini. She is in a team that can be. This is a team that loves to shoot threes, right? They shoot a ton of them. They don't make them at a great percentage. She does. She can shoot the fucking lights out. Uh, Better than 44% from three, both of the seasons in her WNBA career. I mean, she's automatic. You can give her any space, it's going in. I mean, her last, so she's missed a few games to injury, right? Her last handful of games, 4 of 6, 3 of 8, 6 of 8, 2 of 4, 2 of 5. Like on a game by game basis, even she was scorching. You know what I mean? So she's deadly. You can't leave her alone, and that you have to game plan for her, which isn't something you can say about a lot of the Valkyries players. They have players who can score, they have players who can shoot, but she's somebody you really genuinely have to game plan for because she's
Yeah.
that deadly from the outside. So I
I think
think
the
that's kind
Lynx
of the X factor because they need someone who can get hot, and she can get hot.
definitely, I think, were sad to give her up in the expansion
Yeah.
draft. She was super on fire until like at Eurobasket this year too. She was going crazy for Italy. So
Mm.
yeah, she's been a bucket lately. My X Factor is the one and only Kate Martin. Love Kate. I think for similar reasons, like they just need someone to give them offense, and like Kate, when she's been getting an opportunity, she's just kind of the epitome of a player who stays ready. And she's also been a pretty good 3-point shooter this year. Her role has just been very in flux, but when she's been on the court, she's been very good, and she's starting to get some ISO buckets, and like it's been good to see her being able to sort of spread her wings as a player. And yeah, I think if they're going to do anything in the playoffs, they kind of need players like her to be their best selves, give a bit more scoring juice, because like you said, their offense is not super great all the time. That Veronica Burton needs a little help, so she's carrying a pretty strong load right these days as their best
And
player.
Kate Martin's been the team chemist too. I saw her doing as the designated dap giver in the pregame lineups and during the intros, and I was like, man, check out Kate Martin. I
She's
knew
always been
I knew there was a reason the vibes was good in Vegas. I knew there was a reason.
Yeah, no, she's been definitely like one of those like top five vibes players these last since she entered
Yep.
the league because I
Yep.
think she's just like, and it's more than just the kind of like obviously like the happy to be there. Like her story is cool about not expecting to get drafted and then ended up getting a roster spot and being successful. But I think that yeah, she's just like the epitome of a good teammate and like keeps people together and especially kind of through a difficult season. Like the Valkyries, even though they've been good, they've had lots of changes. They talked about, you know, it's hard when you see players coming and going just because of like being waived or injured or whatever, and there's just it's difficult, and so you need to have players like Kate Martin who can just kind of keep a steady presence and who, even though she doesn't always play all the time or has had a really inconsistent role, she's like ready when she does get the action, and she is very talented. So yeah, I think she's incredibly important for the Valkyries to have any kind of success, and I think that counts for their future as a team as well. Zandalacini is like a pretty solid vet, but Kate Martin's still very young and kind of one of their better like prospects going forward, I think. So what she can manage to kind of do in the playoffs and whatever. And I can't remember if Kate played very much during the Aces playoff run last year, but I felt like she probably could have been on the floor more, to be honest. Yeah. I think she's pretty integral to the Valkyries, other young players. Seattle, so back to the Storm, and they're being more of the issue than Serena Sundell, for instance. I don't know. The Storm have possibly the worst vibes for a team that's in the playoffs. They're
All season too. Like I don't think anybody really expected that, but the vibes have seemed poor. At least I should say below average. They're below average vibes.
well,
Not
I wouldn't
ideal.
say it was unexpected given the entire investigation and Jewel Lloyd thing in the off season that we all seem to have forgotten
True.
about. Uh,
True.
they did the whole "we investigated ourselves and found nothing" thing. Um,
Man. We're all looking for the person who did this. They say a wanted poster with their face on it is nearby. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and
love
then
it.
Alicia Clark demanding a trade this year in the middle of the season. I mean, like a player like Alicia Clark too, who like she won championships in Seattle, and that's like her home, and she's like, "Yeah, get me out of here. Like, I'm out." That's kind of something's not right if that's happening. So I don't know what's going on there, but my X factor for Seattle, who is their number 2 overall pick, Dominique Malonga, she's been very good, incredible, since she's been actually getting any minutes. And I always thought Seattle even taking that pick was really weird because I'm like, you're not gonna play that player. Like, why would you use that? Why would you use that high draft pick? Like, why wouldn't you just trade it for something else? Obviously, you're seeing why having someone like Dominique Malonga is incredibly important to your team, but it definitely leaves a lot of questions with like Ezzy and the future in Seattle in general with that roster. However, Dominique Malonga's been incredibly talented and on the floor and really fun to watch. And it's like I'm curious where she'd be in all the rookie leaderboards if she had actually gotten to play more this season. And I think that it's being it's just being shown now pretty much how like very important she is to this team, to their future, and also to right now in the playoffs. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really just not sure what to make of Seattle because when they're playing well, like they're really good. They have a good collection of talent. I mean, they have Skylar Diggins-Smith, they have NECA, Ezzy's really talented. They've got good Gabby Williams, they've got good players, but the vibes have just seemed atrocious. And I'm not really sure who you can pin that, if you can pin that on one person or many people, but they're hard to root for currently, to be honest. Like even the Sue Bird statue unveiling just felt uncomfortable. Something about it just like that was wholesome and nice, but something about the team just
Even the jerseys are hideous. Like I hate to say it, but they're so ugly.
the ones look like sevens. It's really freaking weird.
I don't like it.
It's ugly. I don't know.
What's
They
with
need to
Seattle
do
teams
better.
and having hideous jerseys? The Seahawks need to get rid of that neon shit. The Storm need to fix their stuff. It's awful. It's awful. The whole city, no fashion.
The Kraken at least have decent colors. I don't mind Kraken.
Yeah, but they look like the S from fucking Homestar Runner, man, from the Trogdor cartoon. Like I don't know if anyone knows that reference, but like it looks bad. Like y'all
Yeah,
could do better.
the S is not nice,
Yeah,
but I mean the colors are
yeah,
okay at least.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about Seattle. That's how bad the vibes are. Who's your X factor?
For Seattle, I got Brittany Sykes. Came over mid-season.
In that
She's
Alicia
a
Clark
dog,
trade.
man. Yeah, in that trade, she's a dog. Plays her ass off on defense. Get the outside shot a little bit. Shooting a career best from three since coming over in that trade. Kind of one of those players who can like kind of make a play out of nothing. And I think you need that if you're going to compete against the best teams in the league. You need somebody who can turn an opposing play into a broken play, and she has that ability. Defends like hell in the pick and roll. Listen, player. Unfortunately, her presence and her play hasn't teams kind of stuck. Unfortunately, but if they're gonna get unstuck, she's gonna be part of it because she's really really good.
Yeah, I was really sad when she got traded to Seattle just because I thought she was like the perfect vet for Washington and she loved being in Washington and with those
Yeah,
players. And she fit so nicely with Citron and Uriafin. But yeah, I agree. Like, I think she is incredibly important to them going anywhere in the playoffs, if anything, because she's just a really rugged defender. She gives them a different kind of look on offense. She just is pretty relentless. She really expanded her game a lot in LA and then in Washington the last couple of years. And so Seattle stands to reap the rewards of that. But I also always wonder how well midseason transactions are going to like truly, how much of a difference they'll truly ever make in the playoffs, especially when you haven't been with the team the whole time. So like you said, it's not like perfect yet, but she's been very good. And I do think she definitely kind of holds the key. I would agree with that. Her and Dominique, it's like the two new players they essentially like introduced to the team have been doing an outsized portion of the work. NECA has been very good this year, but Skylar's been not bad.
she's been scouting.
She's
You know,
yeah, yeah. I think you could say that in relation to many things. She's been Skylar on and off the court.
yeah.
I really like Skylar, but I struggle with her too because it just seems like there's a lot of moments where I'm like, I feel like you should be more important or better. But hey,
That
she
chip is
is
permanently affixed to her shoulder. That is the thing that I think I'm gonna think of Skylar Diggins.
which, sorry?
Permanent chip on shoulder. Like
Yeah,
that is her
for sure.
vibe all the time.
And like understandable to some extent, but it's a bit Russell. It's a little Westbrookian where you're like, okay, I need something else. But yeah, I don't know. Curious to see what Seattle does in the playoffs. I mean, right now they're kind of fighting for playoff positioning like everybody else, but they are closer to being out of the playoffs than in at this point, to be honest, because they have the same number of losses as Golden State and Indiana and only one more win. So they're basically like tied. So 6 through 8 is a very like interesting situation, and they are basically fighting for their playoff lives in every single game they play from now on. Pressure either creates diamonds or it actually just crushes them. So we'll see what happens. It would be pretty shocking to see them end up out of the playoffs though, because they started the season really hot and then things fell apart really quick. And yeah, I also think like there's a lot if they flame out. In some way, there's a lot of changes probably happening in Seattle. I think this is probably Noelle Quinn's last chance to do anything with this roster because
Mhm.
she hasn't really done a lot, to be honest. And I understand that the roster wasn't good for a couple years there, but I don't know. It's just a lot of smoke in Seattle in general.
Yeah, this team had expectations and they have not met them yet.
No, they sure just making it into the playoffs is absolutely not enough. Yeah. Anyways, I guess our next team would be the what does Yahoo have as their standings? Because in fifth place on ESPN is the Liberty.
I guess, yeah, because technically Phoenix has a better win
Came back.
percentage because they have one fewer win and one fewer loss. So New York, fifth place. Ooh, defending champs, fifth place. The injury bug hit them too. Maybe
Yeah.
not as
Brianna.
severely as Indiana, but Stewart missing games. Everybody's banged up. John Paul Jones missed a stretch. Ionescu maybe isn't fully healthy. It's a tough stretch for them, but they still have so much. They still have so much. It's hard not to
It's
get
also
it
just
right.
been, yeah, yeah. They missing Brianna Stewart. I think even though they brought in Emma Meeseman, it kind of happened partway through that injury, and they went on a pretty big slide. So, but I mean, like all these teams are so bunched up, really. Outside of Minnesota, everybody else is pretty bunched together. Who's your Liberty X factor?
Who did I have for Liberty? Oh, I think I had Emma Musamine actually. Mid-season acquisition. Shout out to Belgium. Underrated country. Terrible weather. Underrated country. She's been
Great beer
shooting
though.
really fucking man. Bet for my money, best beer country on the planet. But super efficient since coming over. I mean, shooting 53.6% from the field, 58% from three, which is kind of wild. Not like super high volume from three. She's only shooting like one a game. But hey, man,
That's
you
all they
shoot
need
go
though.
in. That's always nice.
They also have enough players to
Underrated
shoot the three.
player. Exactly. She's had back-to-back 24-point games at one point this season against Vegas and against the Sparks. So it's one of those things where if they need the scoring, she can provide it. They don't necessarily always need it because they got John Paul Jones. But she can chip in, and if there's a night where somebody's off or somebody's hurt, she can give you that. So that's why she's like my X factor pick because she can pick up the slack. She plays within the flow of the offense normally, but if you need them extra buckets, you need them extra shot attempts. Hey, she can give you those. She'll have a game where she shoots 4 times, like against Chicago. She'll have a game where she shoots 15 times, like against the Sparks. So she can fit into what you're doing, or she can fit out and show out a little bit.
Yeah, she's truly one of my favorite players to watch, which I'm pretty sure I've mentioned a million times, but I love it. I love Emma Miesemann. I love the versatility that she provides that roster because she can play the 5, but she also can play the 4. She's got the mobility and quickness to
I
guard
didn't know how
down a
big
little
she
bit.
was until I saw her in person last month. Like I had no idea.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know she was 6'4", man. I always
Yeah,
thought she
she's
was
not
shorter.
small.
I was like, wait a second, she big as.
Yeah, she's not small, but she doesn't look that big. Like I get what you mean though, because she doesn't look like she's 6'4". She looks kind of more that 6 feet, like 6'2" range, where you're like, okay, like you're like
Yeah, yeah.
small for a big, but like, still pretty big. But no, she's actually like a full size center, but she's so agile. Like she's got really great footwork, and so she can play more off the ball too. Like you can put her with Jonquel, and it's fine. I think they're mostly staggering their minutes, but you could play them together. Yeah. My X Factor, I low key, I don't know. I chose Maureen Johannes because I'm curious to see what her adding her back into things does for that team in terms of like she wasn't part of their playoff run last year. But I actually think I'm gonna go with Jonquel Jones because a craziest stat is
Okay.
that I quick switch up. The Liberty are 30-0 when she has a double double.
She's quietly
Kind of
maybe the.
wild.
I mean, besides being the most important player on the team, quietly maybe the best player on the team.
Yeah, like I don't love watching her play sometimes, to be honest. She's got a very Joel Embiid aspect about her where she'll just throw bows and you're like, okay. But, or fall down randomly. But she's really fucking good. It seems stupid to say that she's the X Factor, but like,
Finals MVP.
they kind of need her. Like, I don't know. They really do, especially right now. Like, and you saw like that presence when she was injured. It wasn't great, and like that 30-0 stat is like, yeah, it's loud, but it's loud for a reason. Like they need her. They there's more. I think that they can survive injuries to even someone like Sabrina a little better because Marine Johannes and Leonie Fibic and some of those players can kind of like make up at least collectively some of what Sabrina brings. Right? There's a bit more just like depth on the wings and in their guards.
Yeah.
But they kind of can't replicate Jonquel fully. I mean, Emma helps and having Brianna, but like at the same time, like Jonquel is just such a big size, like immediate size mismatch in every game. Basically, she's so big, and the fact that
Six
she is such a
six.
good shooter. Yeah,
It feels almost unfair that one of the very best interior players of her generation is also shooting almost 46% from three.
yeah.
She's hit 4 threes 3 times this month. You know what I mean? Like it's what do you do when Jonquel Jones is out there? She changes everything for the defense, changes everything for her own offense. She's fucking incredible, man. Like on any other team, she would be probably 20 points and 11 rebounds a game, you know, MVP candidate because the Liberty is so loaded. She doesn't get to put up crazy numbers like that, but she's so,
Yeah, but
so good.
to be honest, even in Connecticut, when she was MVP, like it was the quietest MVP season ever in terms of just like nobody really paid attention to Jonquel. Because Alyssa Thomas still took over most of the conversation, even though Jonquel was the better player. So it's just kind of like weird. Her career has been kind of strange in that way. I guess no, she won MVP when Alyssa was out, but still,
Yeah.
she's been quietly very dominant. And like again, like I said, not always my favorite player to watch, to be honest. Like she's incredibly talented, but I'm like just a little. I do think she's a little dirty at times, but I think she's like incredibly important to that team, and they can go no. I mean, I think even if everyone else is healthy and she's injured or she's just not playing well, I do think they're kind of boned. Like I do think they really need her to uh
Yeah.
to make everything really click. So I don't know. I love Marine Johannes, and that was partially why I kind of picked her originally because I just wanted to talk about Marine Johannes because I love that she's back
She
in the
she
league.
plays like she wants to be known as the X Factor. You know what I mean? She plays
Yeah,
like
yeah,
her
yeah.
whole identity in her head is like, I am the X Factor. I am gonna hit the shot that is gonna change this game. And every shot attempt is an attempt to hit the shot that changes the game.
Or like her every assist, and she's just like got the flashiest assists. Like some of them are crazy. Like her assist reel is so much fun. Yeah,
There's a
so much
3-point
fun.
game in the second quarter, and she's like, there's like 15 seconds left on the shot clock, and she's like, you know what? I'll shoot a three off one leg. That's gonna get the crowd on their feet.
And then makes it, and you're like, okay. That's the real MJ right there.
Honestly, I've seen her hit the side of the backboard with that shit too, and I'm like, you know what, Marine, do you? We need players like that who just have
Respect.
like, you know what, I'm gonna try some shit like that. That's fun
She,
sometimes. Her whole thought with the ball is like, man, I've not done lately. I'm
yeah,
gonna fuck him up with this one. Like,
she is like the epitome of chaos agent, like absolute
yeah,
chaos.
yeah,
And I love it
yeah,
because I feel like the Liberty are mostly a very well-oiled machine. They're almost like kind of, that like like German efficiency, like, they work, and then you just got to throw some French chaos in there every now and then. Just see
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Like
I don't know.
one of those painters who literally tosses paint at the easel. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, 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 yeah.
with the
She
paintbrush.
you've seen The Big Lebowski, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. You know when he goes to meet Lebowski's daughter and she like flies over him in the harness, like throwing paint and shit? That's basically Marine Johannes. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's just flying around on a harness. Like, yeah, that's definitely her. I adore her. She's one of my favorite players. Also, finding out that her and Gabby Williams are a couple made me extra happy because I love that. But
Did not know that.
yeah, yeah. That
Cross
was
country, man. That's tough. That's tough.
I mean, I guess they lived together in France.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. I love Marine, but I don't know. I just last minute was like, I think Jonquel was probably like the key, the X factor and key to them. Because even Jonquel's not that, like you said, she's not the biggest star on the team, even though she's probably their best player. Uh,
Yeah.
Stewie and Sabrina get the most attention, and then yeah, it's an interesting team. I am curious. I think that once now that they have Brianna back, I mean, I think that they're better equipped, which is funny because they won last year, but I think they're better equipped to handle Brianna melting down in the playoffs like she did last year. Now that they have Emma as well, to your point, like having Emma as being an X factor, I think that that's just adds like another level of like security because Brianna Stewart was not good in the finals last year. She was okay, but like not great. And same with the finals before that against the Aces. She hasn't been great the last couple playoff runs. She's had her moments, but that consistent greatness we expect out of Brianna Stewart hasn't totally been there. And especially now coming off of some injuries. So having Emma as that backbone and then obviously needing Jonquel, I think that really kind of sums up their playoff run. There's just enough. They
Speaking
can
of
do
the
enough from the guards.
speaking of the Liberty, did you see that Sandy Brondello clip that went around? Like I think some I can't remember what team it was. I don't remember if it was the Aces or the Lynx. I think it was the Lynx. What he called the Liberty as like a bitch ass team or something like that.
Yeah, it was one of the stud
And
buds,
they asked
of
Sandy
course.
Brondello about it, and she was just like the most incredibly Australian response ever. She was like, "Oh, fighting words? I love fighting words."
Yeah,
And
that was
for context, I lived in Australia briefly. I have been of legal drinking age in several different countries for the last 17 years, right?
yeah,
Half of the bar fights I've seen in my entire adult life have been in my 5 months in Australia. They
yeah,
fucking love that shit. Fighting words to an Australian is like, oh, lovely.
fun.
Like, you know what I
Let's
mean?
go.
That sounds
Yeah,
great. Let's scrap it out. Like I was like, Sandy, you have not changed. You are still an Aussie. You've been in the States for a while. You are still an Aussie.
never change, Sandy, never change.
Never.
I adore her. I
Never.
love her. Yeah,
Mercury icon, Sandy Brondell. I love her still.
I love her too. I guess speaking of the Mercury,
Hey, there we go. There we
your
go.
Mighty Merker, your Mighty Merker next.
Yep, yep.
Who's your Mercury X Factor?
I briefly considered somebody else, but for me, this was kind of an easy one, especially since, like, 'cause I've been covering this a bit this year. I've been watching every game and, like, tracking, trends, statistically, whatever, whatever. For me, it's Monica Cole-Makani. When that team is just different when she's out there. She's been their most accurate shooter. Not high volume, but she can hit it, which is obviously a big deal for an offense that is built around Alyssa Thomas shouldering her way to the rim, and Kalia Copper's, skillful slashing. But like defensively, they're just a different team with her out there. The other point guards, like Hell can defend, Whitcomb can defend, but teams are going to target them when they're matched up against them. And when Akol Makani's out there, she is, I think Nikias Duncan posted some stats about pick and roll coverage in the league. There's only two players who are more efficient who allow less points per game in the pick and roll than Nicole Makani does, and she's defended like 100 plus more pick and rolls than the other two, either of the other two. Like fights through screens like few other players in the league, stays on ball handlers' hips, contests shots. I mean, she's really, really good on the defensive end, even with the occasional rookie mistake here and there. I mean, she's a seasoned pro overseas, but still new to the W. But I mean, she is really good defensively. Like that was the first thing I noticed the first time I saw her play is that she fights like hell through screens. And if she's healthy for them down the stretch, they're just a better team with her playing. They're just significantly better with her out there.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. They, as much as like Alyssa Thomas basically is a point forward, and even Satu and Kalia, I think that she just offers that like true kind of point guard, like setup kind of vision. And she doesn't need to be a scorer, but she's really helps their defense for sure, especially at the point of attack, because they don't really have a lot of other players like her on their roster.
No, not a lot of other players who defend point guards as their bread and butter. They have good wing defenders. They have good big defenders. Max great in defending bigs. Thomas can free safety her way to hella interceptions. She looks like Tyrann Mathieu out there, right? But
Honey
as far
Badger.
as shutting teams' water off, you know what I mean, and making them get into their offense like 10 seconds left on the shot clock, that's Monique's job, and she does really good at it.
Yeah, she's really good. Speaking of Natasha Mack, though, that's my X factor for the team. She's like really one of their only true bigs. I mean, like she's the same height as Satu, but they play very differently. Like I don't really think of
Yeah,
Satu as a big,
yeah.
whereas Tasha Mack offers some true just kind of like size and rebounding. I think she's their second or third leading rebounder on the team.
Yeah, and that's with being a bench player for most of the season, right? Like she wasn't top five in minutes, and she's still one of the top rebounders on the team.
She is the or three like so it's Alyssa Thomas, Alexis Prince, and Satu are the top three, but Tasha Mack, considering she only plays like 17 minutes a game and the others all play at least over 20, she's averaging 5.5 rebounds a game.
Yeah, because she came off the bench the first half of the season because Catherine Westbeld was the starting center. So
Yeah. So I think that her just toughness and like she's not going to offer a ton on offense. She's never super been that great. She's pretty good around the rim. She's got some nice touch, but that's not her game. She's just a really good like she's just like a very good kind of like keep it moving, like fill those gaps kind of player. But she plays really hard. She plays on defense, like plays really hard on defense. She just brings really nice energy. And I think that her ability to get defensive rebounds and just get the break going for the Mercury is really important because I do think you've watched more games than I have, so you can probably speak to that. But I suspect that pace is very important to their game. They like to get out and run. They have a lot of really good transition players. And especially since their shooting can be a little streakier, like Sammy Whitcomb is very good and Lexi held in them, but it's a little more inconsistent. So I think that playing in transition is really important, and being able to get stops is really important. And Natasha Mack is quite integral to that whole operation.
she reminds me in some ways to do a cross league comparison of like Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks, and
Yeah.
that she's one of those bigs who has the height to contest at the rim, but also I guess quick enough, agility wise to contain guards, and she switched on to him. But I think one of the most interesting things about that comparison is that it's not something you talk about a lot in WNBA conversations. It's more like an NBA conversation typically, but then talk about like verticality and vertical spacing and stuff. They throw her lobs, like not necessarily for dunks, right? But there's a lot of times where she'll set a screen and they'll toss
Hips.
it up and just say, "Hey, go get it," and then she'll come down and then go back up for the layup because she has the athleticism to go get that shit over whatever guard is digging down on her. She'll snatch it up and then she's good at the rim. Like she's not a high scoring player, but she's efficient.
I'm just like genuinely happy for her because I remember when the Sky drafted her, I was like really excited about her. I've always enjoyed her like personality. Like I didn't not like I watched a whole lot of Oklahoma State basketball, but it was still just like I really liked her when they drafted her. I was like, okay, like I dig this. And then unfortunately she just couldn't hang on to the roster spot. She went to Minnesota, same kind of thing. But I'm really happy that she just like found a home in Phoenix and she's been super good. Like I was really excited last year when she was backing up Brittany Griner and like she looked good.
Yeah.
At times she kind of looked better than BG did in that offense. So it was like nice to see her also get a chance now to actually be a true like integral part of the team. Like she wasn't the starter for most of the year, but
Yeah.
either way, she's playing like good minutes and acquitting herself quite well. And I do think, yeah, that defensive presence and just that vertical spacing, like you said, it's kind of an underrated thing in the W because it's just not a big part of the game. You don't play above the rim. But just having any kind of vertical spacing does really help, especially when you have really great passers on your team, like Alyssa Thomas or people like
Yep.
that. And especially since some of their best players aren't exactly like the best shooters from outside. any kind of spacing is really helpful. We talk about that a lot in the NBA about how vertical spacing does matter. So having any kind of vertical spacing in the W just adds like an interesting wrinkle to their team and their offense.
Yeah, it's been fun watching her thrive and take over the starting role too, because just like she's a big personality, right? Just like a funny person. Like the Mercury social team does hella like goofy videos and stuff, and they did a video for like Empowering Women Night or whatever, where they asked everyone like, oh, what makes you feel the most empowered? And everyone was like, oh, it's when these young girls come up to me and they're like, wow, you inspire me to play, blah blah blah. And that's Tasha Mack. She said, but I'm listening to Glorilla. It's like I was like, never change, never change.
Never change, Tasha Mack, never change.
Yep.
I just remember like when she came in the league, like I interacted with her a little on Twitter actually, like randomly, because I was just like kind of a fan
Yeah.
and like nothing crazy. Like it's not like I, actually talked to her or anything, but she just like liked
Mm.
a few posts. But her and her girlfriend were like the cutest shit ever. Like I just remember that, and I don't know if they're still together. I hope they are, but they were so cute. It was just like the most adorable thing ever. I was like, I don't know, I love her. When you're just like, there's a player there's nothing about their game specifically that you're like, oh yeah, like that's why I love this player. It's just you just really like them, and it's just hard to not cheer for them. She's definitely one of those players
Yep.
for me. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're now into the top 3 of the standings. Whew. Talking about surging, we
10 wins in a row after everyone was writing them off and saying that they were done and Becky Hammond was on fraud watch.
and by everyone you mean us, right? Because we definitely said those things. I mean, to be
I
fair,
thought
we
they were
had the
gonna have to tear it
appropriate
down. I thought they were gonna have to tear it down.
we had the appropriate level of deference in the sense of like if anyone's gonna rally, it could be the Aces. They have too much talent to not. It was more of a confusion about why they weren't better.
Yep.
Yeah, they've really
Turns
surged
out
of
Asia's
late.
still good as hell, man. Like it
Yeah,
turns out she's
they're
still
gonna
good as
have to
hell.
pry that MVP trophy from her cold dead hands. To be honest, it's gonna have to be the Asia Wilson Memorial MVP because like until someone seizes that shit, I think she's still the front runner. Like as much as Alyssa Thomas has had an incredible season, I don't think you can deny Asia like her greatness when she's basically led the team in every single category and is like dragging them kicking and
Yeah.
screaming into the
Unless they slide during this last stretch of the season, like if they end up like fifth or something, like if they stay where they're at right now, Asia takes it. Because I mean, she's just been unfucking believable in this last stretch, and the team has been. I mean, 10 straight wins. Surging, you might finish second. If they finish second, it's over. Asia got it. But if they slide a little bit, if they cool off, then anything can happen. Could be Fee, could be AT. But as it is right now, Asia's playing out of her fucking mind.
I feel like the challenge for Fee is she just missed too many games recently
Yeah.
to truly win MVP, and I also think that yeah, Asia's just been undeniably amazing. And I mean, her amazingness extends to even off the court. South Carolina just signed a new deal with Nike, and essentially there's an Asia Wilson provision where they have to like they'll be wearing Asia's gear, which is such a
Yeah.
flex. Like your alma mater, they put a statue of you on their campus.
Yep.
Also now gets to wear your shit. Like that's cool. Who's your
Nice to wear your shit.
X-factor? But I mean, so obviously Asia is
Uh,
the most important player on the Aces, and without her,
yeah.
they are cooked. But they're obviously she can't do it completely alone. So who else you got?
I think I kind of have Dana Evans as an X Factor.
My
She's
girl,
a
Dana.
little bit up and down sometimes, right? They don't necessarily need a ton of buckets from her, but in the games where she shined, she's really shined. I mean, she had 17 and 21 back to back against Phoenix and Washington, and she shot 15 for fucking 20 in those 2 games combined. She can do it in different ways, right? In one game, she shot 1 3 and made it, of course. In the other game, she shot 6 of them and 5 of them. You know what I mean? So she's that like one of those players who can come off the bench and give you a little bit of extra juice, give you some extra scoring when you need it. Because we know the starting lineup, obviously with Asia out there, with Jackie Young, you know what you're getting from them. Chelsea Gray's kind of been resurgent lately, especially now they have like offensively. I think they have matched up against bigger players more often as opposed to point guards. But I think that Dana Evans gives them another element of danger. She can shoot it from outside. She can penetrate, and I think she's kind of an X factor for them. I was gonna go with Will Smith, but I changed my mind at the last second.
No, that's fair. I mean, I will always be Team Dana forever. Louisville Cardinals forever. Um, And I felt like she got a bit of a raw deal in Chicago, and I was really excited to see what she could do in Las Vegas. And for the most part, this season, I've been pretty disappointed. Mostly, not even in her. She hasn't gotten a lot of minutes, to be honest. Her role has really fluctuated in a way that I was a bit disappointed in. I thought that Vegas was maybe a little more desperate for bench scoring than they've been getting, so I was kind of surprised she got like very few minutes. But in classic Dana Evans fashion, she's crushing it when she is on the court. So I think honestly, the theme here, but my pick too, is like the Aces bench, where it's like who can give them something other than Jackie Young and Asia Wilson, and I mean Chelsea Gray's been much better lately. But who's giving them anything outside of those basically three players? So I went with Jewel Lloyd as my X factor because she's just too talented to not be. Like they traded for her because, and they got rid of they willingly gave up Kelsey Plum to get Jewel Lloyd because they thought Jewel Lloyd was going to be that thing that helps get them over the top again, and it has not worked this season. I'm curious if Jewel Lloyd's had an injury we haven't known about, or like something else happening, because it's really crazy to see her barely scoring like this. It's been a little better for her since she went to the bench, and I respect the hell out of her sacrifice for being willing to do so, because that also did really help spark this run for them. But it's pretty wild. It's been tough for her. It's been a really tough season in Vegas, but I think now she's always been kind of a playoff killer, and she's been very good historically, and she's got that experience. And so I think if anyone can give them some bench scoring, or if she gets put back in the starting lineup, I think it's probably her, and they need her. So I think they've been able to survive and go on this 10-game win streak, largely without much of her scoring. She hasn't really scored a ton, but I think that they really do need her if they're going to actually truly go far in. She's only averaging 11 points a game this season, which is crazy. A bit of an increase on her 3-point percentage. Her career, she's 35%. This year, she's almost at 37, which is not a lot of an increase, but it's definitely an increase. Her career average is 16 points a game, and she's averaging 11 right now. It's kind of crazy, especially after everything we saw in Seattle, especially those years when she was it. She's obviously a very talented player. So, I don't know. I think if the Aces are going to do anything in the playoffs, like, they really do need, against the best competition and in, like, hard situations, they're going to need every single player that they can get to step up. And I think Jewel Lloyd is definitely someone that got to make that trade worth the juice, because Kelsey Plum has been incredible this year. Granted, on a not very good team, so she's been able to take a lot of shots, but that doesn't mean that she's just been very good. And so you can tell the Aces are missing that scoring punch a little bit. So they kind of need Jewel Lloyd to fill that role. Yeah. Fun to see the Aces back raging, though. Back to being who they are. I think, at the end of the day, as much as I was worried about Becky Hammon as a coach, I think that she's one of the best playoff coaches still. And the Aces are not a team you take lightly, ultimately. They still have too much. They were kind of that sleeping giant all season. They struggled, and now they're like, kind of honestly a bit like the Chiefs. These last couple years in the NFL were like,
they were disgusting last year, and it still made the finals, and it still made the
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right?
Disgusting. Disgusting.
The Aces feel that way a little too, where it's like this year hasn't been pleasant, but they're still doing it. They're still the Las Vegas Aces.
Yep. So things don't change. Next up, we got Atlanta.
The Dream. They have been surprising. I did not expect them to be number 2 in the league. Actually, coming into
second best point
season.
differential too. It's not even a rush. They've just been really fucking good this year.
Yeah, no. Like I don't mean to say that in terms of like they're to disrespect who they've been. I believe it. I truly believe them. I just wasn't expecting it. I expected some improvement, but I wasn't expecting like top of the league improvement, worst to first kind of thing. Yeah, we always knew the talent was there, but damn.
They got a really nice balance too. There's 6 players averaging at least 8 points a game. They're the best rebounding team in the league that don't turn the ball over like ever. They're just really fucking good on both ends of the floor. Like, there's other teams in the top 4 that they've owned them this year. You know what I mean? They own the tiebreakers against a couple other top 4 teams. So they got a tough out, and they've shown to beat the other best teams in the league. They're not just beating up on the teams below them. Good against elite teams too. They're kind of dangerous.
No, they've been really good, and like, yeah, and it's been cool because it's been some of the new additions that have been stepping up, but then also some players who have been on the roster for a couple of years and who are finding their footing and really like finding a role. Again, like I think they found a coach who helped kind of lift sort of the baseline of the team a little bit, and which raised the floor of some of that talent. And then obviously it's also helped just unleash the ceiling of players like Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray and players like that. But who is your Atlanta Dream X Factor?
I think I'm gonna go with Jordan Canada. She's fourth in the team in scoring. She's not like the biggest star on the team, but currently dealing with an injury. But I mean, when she gets going, her ability to use that quickness to beat people off the dribble just kind of opens things up for everybody else. She's a really good playmaker. She'll get you, a lot of assists as well. I just think, she's somebody you gotta be careful with because, she's not the first name on the scouting report, but she can hurt you and she stirs the drink, having a player like that who can set the table for everybody else and just not really give the ball to the other team ever. I mean, that keeps that Atlanta system running. So I think for her, she's kind of the X factor.
Yeah. Averaging double-digit points. It just adds a different kind of dimension for sure to the whole thing.
You could make the case she's the best player from Canada in the entire WNBA. From the Canada family,
In name only. Yeah. My X Factor is Naz Hillman, actually.
Okay.
So she's been making a bit of a sixth woman of the year push. She's been super integral to their team. Like, she's one of those players who I think has taken the biggest, leap. I mean, the counting stats don't necessarily, jump off the page as being so much better. She's averaging, 3 more points per game than her career. But I think she just adds, an element of toughness. And it's just been really exciting to see her find her footing. In their wins, she's largely just, her stats aren't huge, but I think she's just one of those really solid bench players who's going to give you exactly pretty much the same thing every night. Her stat line is very consistent, especially with things like rebounding, assists, and something that team has taken such a huge leap on is defense, and her defense has been really, really good this year. So I think that I don't think they need her scoring per se, but they do need her ability to just be out there, be gritty, make those tough plays, especially in the playoffs, right? You just need as many reliable bench players and role players as you can find. And she had a pretty weird start to her career in terms of just being in Atlanta they've been in a weird place the last couple of years. So yeah, I feel like she's just really making a bit of a push for, I don't think she'll win sixth woman, but I think she's definitely, the team talks about her in that role a lot, and she's very much, even though her counting stats don't necessarily show that, she's taken on a much larger role in that locker room and with that team. So she's just been more empowered, and I think that she'll be important to their just being kind of steady, giving that kind of presence. And she's been on the team a couple years now too. So yeah, her and Jordan Canada, similar players, to be honest. Their stats really actually aren't that different from each other. Canada's averaging 12 points a game. Naz Hillman's averaging 8.3. Hillman actually is, obviously out rebounding her because she's a forward, but their point production, things like that, but they offer sort of similar things. But I think it's that same vibe if they just really need a change in pace, somebody else who can kind of step in and just do stuff and is very effective at doing stuff. So yeah, that's my dream, not my actual dream, but my dream X Factor. Their name still really weirds me out sometimes. I understand why it exists and everything, but
I love singular names or collective nouns in the WNBA. They really do not like plural nouns, for whatever reason.
Also, just I just have this firm belief that team names need to be a thing, of a noun, not a
things
person.
Are people. Things are type of people or animals or
something.
Something.
Yeah. Not places, not esoteric nouns. Yeah, no, I just weird. Yeah. But anyway.
Concepts.
Yeah. Which brings us to the Lynx, which is a real team name.
And for people at home who don't know, Lynx is also the plural of Lynx, so it may look like a singular name, but it is not.
But it is not.
It is not one Lynx, it is many Lynx.
They're also quite singularly the best team in the WNBA. They rode the...
It's not that close.
It's not close. They, and it's actually impressive because they lost in the finals in pretty heartbreaking fashion last year. Mm-hmm. After winning the Commissioner Cup, looking pretty good, they were going to beat the Liberty, and it was pretty heartbreaking. It's always tough when you get to the finals to see how a team is going to, and then lose. It's always tough to see how a team reacts to that. So the fact that they have been by far the best team in the league. I mean, the Liberty slid because of injury, but I mean, the Lynx also lost their best player for a while too, and they managed to survive that. They've just been far and away the best team, and they didn't make a ton of roster changes in the offseason either. They really didn't make that many. Yeah, they didn't need to.
No team has won more than 65% of their games, except for the Lynx, who have won 81% of their games. No team has a point differential better than 6.2, except the Lynx, who average a double-digit victory per time they walk out of court. They're really fucking good. I don't know what the stat is right now off the top of my head. I do not feel like looking it up. But there was a point midway through the season when they had the number one offensive efficiency in the league and the number one defensive efficiency in the league, which is the kind of shit we used to talk about with like the 96 Bulls. You know what I mean? Or like the Joe Montana 49ers. Like this is a team that is far and away the best team in the league. And if they lose in the playoffs, it's going to feel like a massive disappointment because they have just been whooping everybody's ass pretty much all year. Tony one lost back-to-back games like one time, and that was without I think when they were reintegrating their best players. So they're great. They're great. They're super deep. Everybody's really good.
Yeah, really freaking good. It's actually crazy because it's been coming from random places, or seemingly random places also. Because like they lost Collier for some time on ESPN. Trying to go back to the roster. There we go. They largely haven't played Alyssa Peely. She hasn't really been necessary to that team. I feel like she got caught in a bit of a crunch.
Now.
Yeah, I think she got caught in the crunch of being a young player needing to develop on a veteran roster that's trying to win. That was not really so much appeal. And I mean, even the way that like Cheryl Reeve talked about Diamond Miller and Peely after they got like offloaded them, you could tell it wasn't something she like wanted to do. Like she cared about those players and thinks they have tons of talent. It's just like they're not gonna thrive on this roster, so they may as well go elsewhere where they can. But I mean, they lost Nafisa Collier for like a while. She missed like a good number of games. She played the beginning. She basically missed almost a month.
Players on her team who played 37, so she's missed 10 games. That's like concerning.
Yeah, and they still beat the shit out of people the entire time. They looked a little shaky in one or two places, but like yeah, mostly. The trade for Dejanay Carrington worked really great.
Of course they did. Who's in their front office, they need a raise.
I think Cheryl's wife, actually. I'm pretty sure she's married to the GM of the Lynx, actually.
WNBA. That shit is hilarious.
I think. I'm like 90% sure she's married to the GM. I love the WNBA. I don't know. We've talked about this at... Yeah. She is married to the Lynx president of business operations. Sorry.
This is sitcom level, like, workplace dating that we see in the WNBA. This is like...
Yeah. That's amazing.
Nowhere else in society do people date their coworkers as often as in the WNBA.
Yeah, like definitely.
Yeah, literally sitcoms. Like, there's the only other place.
Or like maybe another women's sports league, but I feel like this is still probably the most.
Yeah, it's gotta be top. It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's really funny. I don't know. It's truly an elite thing. But anyway, I think that's also why. I mean, I need the Lynx to win because Cheryl promised she'd dye her hair pink. So yeah, I need that to happen. But anyway,
chief of curmudgeons with pink hair would be incredible.
Yeah, elite. I love Cheryl Reeve. She's truly one of my favorite coaches. But who is your X factor for? Obviously, Nafisa Collier is incredibly important, and there's some very important players on this team. Yeah. But who is your X factor for this Minnesota Lynx juggernaut?
A tough one to pick for because there's a lot of people kind of in that 8 to 15 point per game range. You know, I thought about Courtney Williams. Thought about my goodness. I thought about.
It's funny you said Courtney because I also thought about Courtney too because it seems like they go as she goes, but she's just too important to that team to make her like an X factor. I mean, it depends how you want to define X factor, I suppose.
Yeah, I thought about Dejanay because she's new, but I saw that, Jess Shepard, the triple double recently was really cool, and I wasn't necessarily like fixated on that when I was looking at my list. And then I saw she shooting fucking almost 64% from the field for this season. And I was like, oh my God, man, like that's outrageous. So yeah, she is my X factor. She's got hella double digit rebound games lately too.
She's been good.
Might get a little bit less time with Collier back, but I mean, if anybody's off rhythm in the starting lineup, whether it's Smith or Collier or whatever, or is dealing with an injury, put her in there. This is why the team hasn't missed a beat. I mean, she's awesome, apparently. And I didn't know she was like that until this season. I really did not know that Jessica Shepard was that kind of player.
She's had a really weird career because she came in the same year as Collier. They came in together, and then she immediately tore her ACL in her rookie season. She looked really
Yeah.
good for the first like few games she played her rookie season, and then she immediately tore her ACL. And then she played overseas. She had a breakout season overseas last year before this WNBA season. And it's been a bit of a, I think, recovery issue. She's struggled with multiple injuries, as happens a lot with big players and like knee injuries. It's just other little things happen. So I knew she was really good. I remember her being really good at Notre Dame that year because she played, I think, with Enrique. Pretty sure on the national championship team, and like they were really good, and she was always really talented. And I thought her and Collier together were kind of fun. And then yeah, her career got a little derailed, and so it's been super fun to see her actually like out there crushing it lately. But it's funny because the Lynx are just like really good at identifying talent because they've kept Jess Shepard on the roster these last few years, even though she really didn't play a lot. And then they brought in Maria Klindikova, who like Ney Vadiva, who played for the Sparks for a bit, and then was out of the league for a while. She wasn't just played in Russia. And even like Masha, like since she's been back in the W, has been randomly quite good. I mean, she was very good anyways, but like it's been fun to see her fit pretty seamlessly with the Lynx too. I think that happens with good teams. They know how to identify talent. The Liberty, you see that too with like players like Misamin. Like they're getting good talent because they're a good team. But yeah, it's been really cool to see Jess Shepard kind of hit that evolution and finally kind of hit her stride in the league. My player is pretty similar, but obviously I'm a bit of a homer, so I went with Bridget Carlton. My girl Bridgie has had a pretty quiet season this year, but it's been a very effective season. She she's just been, again, one of those players who kind of like has just done whatever has been needed of her, like has for most of her career. But they don't need her to be their top scorer, but they do need her to be an injection of energy and a solid 3-point shooter and just out there doing stuff. And she has been out there doing stuff. Her biggest scoring game of the season was recently, and they lost to the Dream, that 2-point game. But I mean, she's just been solid. I don't know. I think Bridget Carlton's just very important as far as like depth goes to their team. And has always just proven to be a bit important in terms of also the vibes. She's a very important like glue player for them. And I think, again, like she's not going to be out there scoring a ton, but if she's going to give, she can give you 20 or 30 if she wants to and gets the opportunity. And so I think like her shooting and just kind of filling in the gaps here and there is important. And she's just one of those like kind of energy players. She's everywhere when you need her to be. So I went with Bridgie, but I also definitely struggled with this exercise with the Lynx because there was a number of players where I was like, yeah, like Alana Smith, incredibly important to that team.
They are loaded.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Emma actually chose them instead of the Liberty? It'd be crazy.
Oh my God. Dude, we had to cancel the league. We'd had to have a lockout in the middle of the season for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know. The playoffs are going to be fun. I'm pretty excited. I guess the next time we record, the playoffs will be like around the corner, so we can actually do some proper playoff previews. This was just a fun little exercise to see kind of what players we're going to be watching for during the playoffs, and just even this last part of the season. Obviously, all these players are incredibly important to the success of these teams, and you'll start to see more ramping up of those benches and things like that to get people ready for the playoffs. So I'm very curious to see what happens. It's going to be a fun kind of end to the season. And also, it was a fun way to ring in the 1-year anniversary of this podcast. Thanks to everyone who has listened so far, or interacted on social media, or whatever. I don't know. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Gotta going the countdown. So September 11th. The next episode will drop like 2 days before the end of the season. So yeah, we're looking forward to some good playoff basketball. Why did they choose that day?
I almost spat my wine out. Okay, well, yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Follow us on the socials at wineanddimepod. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, etc. 5-star ratings if you can. That'd be pretty sick. We love a good rating.
Yeah, be dope.
Hell, even leave a review.
4.5.
Yeah, no. Even leave a review. A review would be
more.
nice too, if you feel so inclined. Yeah. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you later.